You were relentless. You stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed, you stabbed until he was dead. I agree with the family. I hope you die in prison as well.
I just want to tell y'all, I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon, I love my family.
This is Michael Swanson, who was on trial for double murder in Carroll County, Iowa.
And why did you want her to be dead as opposed to just be injured?
I don't know. It's just, if I was just going to shoot to injure her, why would I shoot her at all? I don't know.
Police said on November 2010, 17-year-old Swanson stole his mother's Jeep and drove to 2 gas stations in northern Iowa, where he fatally shot Sheila Myers and Vicki Bowman Hall during a robbery attempt.
A couple of her kids say she worked at the Crossroads gas station and convenience store in Alagona for roughly 6 years and never missed a day of work.
Shortly after the shooting, Swanson was arrested and charged with robbery and first-degree murder. Police found a ski mask and the gun he used to shoot the 2 store clerks in Swanson's Jeep.
Officers testified they found a ski mask, clothing, and weapons, including a handgun wedged between the driver's seat and console. During
interrogation, Swanson claimed he felt powerful while committing the murders.
I was curious, how did it feel when you pulled the trigger? I mean, some people say that, it feels powerful or that it's kind of a rush, or what did you feel when you pulled the trigger?
I felt powerful, but I don't know, I just didn't really care.
Didn't care, okay. How else did you feel?
It had no effect on me. I just didn't even care. No, I don't know, I just felt like my adrenaline was pumping, I felt good.
Okay. How do you feel now? Do you feel the same, or has it changed a little bit?
Not really.
Not really?
I don't know. I just feel like, sometimes people get shot.
He then went on to describe the shooting in gruesome detail.
And where did you shoot?
Around the body?
Yeah.
In the face.
In the face? Okay. Why the face? Did you do that on purpose?
Well, I don't know. It just seems like it's final.
It was final? So after you shot her, did you see how she fell?
I think she said something when I shot her. Like, I don't know, on her feet, it made, some noise. And she just fell down. She just kind of fell on the ground. And I walked to the car.
Okay. You said that she made some type of noise. What type of noise did she make?
It sounded like kind of like a half scream, half gasp.
Okay. Can you imitate it? I mean, I know you can't do it perfectly, but...
I just kind of sounded like she was surprised. It was like, I don't know.
Okay.
While being escorted to the courtroom, Swanson couldn't stop laughing, perhaps feeling proud of his actions.
So why did you come to Iowa?
I don't know.
What's so funny? You're smiling.
Y'all are funny.
His defense initially sought a plea of insanity due to Swanson's troubled childhood and a history of untreated mental health issues.
Do not hold him legally responsible for a condition he's born with, and that's exactly what happened.
Puts in his report that without antipsychotic medication, he's going to rob people, he's going to use weapons and commit violent acts, yet they let him out without any kind of medication. I mean, that to me is the failure of the system.
A court doctor who evaluated Swanson described the defendant's obsession with crime.
He had been, quotes, planning something to this degree, including killing people. Continuing the quote, he said, "I have always been fascinated by death and violence. And it was something that I wanted to do, murder, rape, and cannibalism." From what Mr. Swanson told me his perspective was, people are going to die. What difference does it make whether they die when they're 77 or whether he shoots them? It's just not a big deal. He could not understand why everybody was getting so upset about this whole situation.
However, Swanson later pleaded guilty to the murders.
I then intentionally, deliberately, and with premeditation shot the clerk, causing her to die. I did this with a specific intent to kill her.
At his sentencing, an emotional daughter of the victim addressed her mother's killer.
How could you do what you did to my mom and my family? I want to know if you're even sorry. Are you sorry for what you did? My mom was not only completely 100% innocent, but she was also a defenseless woman when you came in with that gun. You said you did it for cigarettes and money and so no one could identify you, but I think that's a lie. You did it, as you later said on, that it was so you could feel powerful. How could killing a defenseless woman and an outright execution be powerful or fair? My mom did nothing to you.
The husband of Sheila Myers was so distraught that the prosecutor had to read his statement.
When I watch TV at night, it's extremely lonely because there's no one to talk to, no one to go to bed with, and no one to wake up with in the morning. And we can't forget that this is about Sheila Myers, not about the system failing Michael Swanson, and not about how something must be wrong with Michael Swanson.
Then the judge directly addressed Swanson, who shockingly found the whole situation funny.
It's cold-blooded murder. Cold-blooded murder, young man. And your counsel wants us to believe that you lack the capacity, that you were insane. And I don't buy into that. You are dangerous. You are unpredictable. And there is no place for you in an open, law-abiding society. Prison for the rest of your life is the only alternative. And the court intends to follow through.
Ultimately, Swanson was sentenced to 2 life terms in prison for the murders of Sheila Myers and Vicki Bowman Hall. While Michael Swanson showed no remorse in the courtroom, what happens when a convict insults his victims' families? Like in the case of TJ Lane, who's on trial for murder in Ohio. Lane was 17 when he opened fire at his Chardon High School on February 27, 2012, gravely injuring several students.
The alleged shooter is a teenage boy, said to be in custody tonight.
Authorities were flooded with panic-stricken 911 calls.
911, where's your emergency?
We just had a shooting at our school. We need to get out of here. Oh my God.
Okay, where the shooter is.
He started in the cafeteria.
He started in the cafeteria?
Yeah, and he ran out.
Who was the shooter?
His name is Thomas Lane.
After Lane opened fire in the cafeteria, the school's assistant football coach, Frank Hall, chased him outside the premises. That's where the police found Lane when they arrived and arrested him.
TJ was then arrested right outside the school by police.
Remain silent. Anything you say can will be into
Tragically, 16-year-old Daniel Parmentor died at the scene, while Russell King Jr., 17, and Demetrius Hewlin, 16, later succumbed to their injuries at the hospital. The shooting also left 17-year-old Nick Walczak permanently paralyzed. All of Lane's victims were his classmates. Lane was charged as an adult with 3 counts of murder. His friends said the teenager was often quiet and kept to himself.
He was just a person that, wanted to hide himself and keep all of his emotions in.
The kind of guy that, would sit by himself and just never bother anybody.
Reports also suggested that Lane had a deeply troubled home life. His father had previously served in prison on assault charges, while his mother often stayed away from home. Lane had initially pleaded not guilty on the grounds of insanity, claiming he often heard voices in his head. But eventually, the defendant was found competent to stand trial. So, to avoid the death penalty, Lane pleaded guilty to the murders.
I understand that you're pleading guilty. You want to plead guilty to the 3 aggravated murder charges with the firearm specifications.
Yes, Your Honor.
At his sentencing, Lane showed no signs of regret as the victim's family members addressed their child's killer.
That child stole my baby's life, and he should never be able to do this to anyone ever again.
We'll have to eventually forgive you. Otherwise, you will haunt me. You will never, ever be in my thoughts after this. Never.
To endure years and years of pain and abuse, which is, in my opinion, not harsh enough.
Lane's lack of remorse was more evident when he arrived for his sentencing. He started executing his sinister plan by unbuttoning his shirt and revealing a white t-shirt with the word killer scribbled on it.
To my left is Nicholas Burling, Geauga County Assistant Prosecutor.
Mark Bartolotta, Travis County.
Lane, who wore a similar t-shirt on the day of the shooting, showed it off in the courtroom with a smug smile on his face. And if that wasn't enough, this is what the evil killer had to say to the victim's family members. Ultimately, Lane was sentenced to life in prison without any chance of parole for the murder of his classmates. While TJ Lane's sickening courtroom insults left everyone stunned, what happens when a convict kills his own mother and sister?
When you shoot and your mother, the woman that brought you into this world, and your sister. Yeah.
Like in the case of Stephen Roby, who's convicted of double murder in Michigan. A year earlier, police said Roby shot and killed his 11-year-old sister, Charlia King, and his mother, Leigh King, at their home in Saginaw. The 22-year-old was arrested and charged with first-degree premeditated murder. Wearing a stun vest, Roby represented himself at trial, claiming there to be no evidence that tied him to the murders. However, a friend of Charlia testified in court, saying the defendant had threatened to kill the victims just days before the shooting. Eventually, Roby was found guilty on 2 counts of murder.
Guilty of first-degree premeditated of Charlia Anessa King. Guilty of first-degree premeditated murder of Lee Andrea King.
At his sentencing, Roby's grandmother addressed the court.
But in spite of his terrible crime, his mother would still want him to receive the mental health treatment that he so adamantly rejected in the past.
But when Roby got a chance to apologize, he chose to complain and throw accusations at the judge.
I feel as though that most of my emotions didn't get past because you were distracted.
Well, that is totally untrue.
Well, when she was on the stand, your phone kept going off a couple of times, and you kept asking her, was it her phone? When I came into the courtroom, I seen you on the phone.
Not while the court was in session.
Okay, but your phone was still going off, and you were still distracted by the phone.
No, that is untrue. That is totally untrue. And that has nothing to do with the sentence.
Yes, it does have something to do with it.
Do you have anything you want to tell me in regards to this sentence?
Yes, I want to file for a mistrial because I don't
deny.
After denying his mistrial plea, the judge threw Roby out of the courtroom.
This is one of the most egregious cases I've ever had. When you shoot and your mother, the woman that brought you into this world, and your sister. And you're going to spend the rest of your natural life in prison. Hopefully someday you'll think about that. Get him out of here.
Ultimately, Roby was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. While Stephen Roby was utterly remorseless in the courtroom, how does it compare to a judge threatening to rip up your plea deal?
And if you're convicted of felony, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do.
Like in the case of Donta Wright, who's facing murder and robbery charges in Michigan. Wright was 17 when he shot and killed 18-year-old high school football athlete Jordan Klee during an attempted robbery in Ann Arbor.
Admitted he shot and killed 18-year-old Jordan Klee. It was October 2016. Wright said he and 2 other friends were trying to rob Klee when he shot Klee in the back of the head, killing him.
2 other teenagers were involved in the murder. Jamarius Ellison, 19, and Delrano Gracie, 18. Both received 15 to 40 years in prison.
To the victim and his family, I'd like to apologize to.
As for Wright, he pleaded guilty to armed robbery, conspiracy to commit armed robbery, felony firearm charges, and second-degree murder.
How do you want to plead to counts 2, 3, 6, and 7?
I'm pleading guilty.
Wright then went on to casually describe the chilling details of the murder.
Did you agree and conspire with 2 other individuals, Delrano Gracie and Jamarius Ellison, to commit an armed robbery?
Yeah.
And who are you going to rob?
Jordan Klee.
Jordan Klee. Armed robbery. What did you do with that gun and Mr. Jordan Klee?
Shot him.
And where did you shoot him?
On the top, by his head.
And did you hit him with that shot?
Yes.
At his sentencing, a family member spoke on behalf of the victim's mother, who was too overcome with emotion.
I've lost laughter and love. I no longer have the hope of having grandchildren. I've lost the enjoyment of holidays and birthdays and of everyday life. This year was supposed to be a year of celebration, of senior pictures with prom and graduation and parties. Instead, it was a nightmare that no parent should ever endure.
The teenager showed no remorse and smiled throughout the statement.
In court after an admitted killer is caught on camera smiling during his sentencing.
Wright then addressed the court where he continued with his indifferent demeanor.
Tell y'all, I'll be home soon. R.I.P. Keon. I love my family.
That's all you got to say?
Yes.
But the judge was having none of it and threatened to reject the defendant's plea deal.
You know, I have never in 23 years approximately ever not accepted a sentence agreement between the parties because it's bargained for, sentenced by the parties. But watching you sit there, smile and laugh and shake your head like this was no big deal, I'm very tempted to just say, I'm not going to accept this sentence agreement. We'll go to trial. And if you're convicted of felony, you'll go to prison for the rest of your life. That means you'll die there. That's what I'm tempted to do. Mr. Bella, do you want me to accept this sentence agreement?
Now it was up to the prosecution to decide whether or not to dismiss the agreement and pursue a trial.
Discussion with the victim's mother as well as his grandparents and some family members. They understand that obviously this is the defendant who brutally murdered their son by shooting him in the back of the head. He's shown absolutely no remorse. Victim impact statements today, he smiled and he laughed throughout the entire proceeding. However, the plea family does want to move on with this. They want to get some closure from this case. They want to try and forgive this defendant and all of his actions for what he did. And they are asking, as well as the people, that you proceed with the sentence agreement.
Wright got another opportunity to speak. This time he addressed the court through his attorney.
Your Honor, my client asked me to apologize to the court. His smiling was in no way meant as disrespectful either to the family, to the victim, or to this court. My client is 17 years old. He has some emotional problems and frankly was scared. And some people display fear by smiling. He really meant no disrespect. He does take this very seriously.
Ultimately, the judge agreed to his plea deal and sent Wright to 25 to 52 years in prison for the murder of Jordan Klee.
Donta Wright was sentenced to 23 to 50 years for armed robbery, felony firearm, and second-degree murder of 18-year-old Jordan Klee.
While Donta Wright's disrespectful behavior almost sent him to trial, what happens when a convict smiles and chuckles during a murder confession?
What kind of gun did you use? A Glock 45.
Like in the case of Dylan Roof, who was facing charges of mass murder in South Carolina. On June 17, 2015, 21-year-old Roof entered the Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston and opened fire at black parishioners during a Bible study meeting.
Witnesses say he joined the prayer group, sitting with church members for nearly an hour before opening fire.
The teenage shooter then fled the scene with a gun in hand, putting the community on high alert.
It is not completely secure. Apparently, we have someone running around armed downtown. There's possibility there's still an active shooter in the area.
Police arrived soon after and discovered a gruesome scene.
9:05 p.m., police responded, arriving to a gruesome scene.
Advising of an active shooter, multiple people down.
8 churchgoers died as a result of the shooting. A 9th succumbed to injuries on the way to the hospital.
8 dying inside that church, 1 on the way to the hospital. In all, 6 women and 3 men.
Roof was arrested a day later in Shelby, North Carolina, around 245 miles from the church shooting.
Roof ran from the scene immediately after the shooting. However, he was caught and taken into custody during a traffic stop the following day.
He was charged with 33 federal offenses, including multiple counts of murder and hate crime.
And late tonight, Roof transported back to South Carolina. Police saying a citizen alerted them to his car.
During interrogation, Roof confessed to the shootings.
Went to that church in Charleston, and I did it. What? Well, I mean. I know it's tough sometimes to say. It's not that I don't want to say it because I don't want to make myself seem guilty. I just don't really like saying it.
Often chuckling and smiling, the suspect calmly outlined the details of the massacre.
Did you shoot him? Yes. What kind of gun did you use? A Glock 45. Okay.
Roof claimed he felt a sense of responsibility to carry out the murders.
I had to do it because somebody had to do something. Because, you know, black people are killing black people every day on the streets. And they rape white women, 100 white women a day.
Police found an online manifesto where Roof wrote about his white supremacist beliefs and the want to start a race war. The manifesto also had photos of him posing with the Confederate flag while trashing the American flag. Investigations also revealed that Roof had been planning the attack for nearly 6 months, often casing the church and target practicing with a weapon. Before his trial began, Roof pleaded guilty to all charges.
He did express sympathy for himself, though, saying he was essentially forced to commit murder and is now suffering the consequences of that decision.
How do you wish to plead?
Guilty.
And are you guilty of the 9 murder charges, the 3 attempted murder charge, and the pistol charge?
Yes, sir.
Ultimately, Roof was sentenced to death for the murders of the 9 black parishioners. While Dylan Roof is currently living on death row for his racist attacks, how does it compare to intentionally running someone over? Like in the case of Jesus Ayala and Jizmir Keys, who are facing murder charges in Nevada. On August 2023, 17-year-old Ayala and 16-year-old Keys allegedly went on a crime spree in Las Vegas.
Ready? Yeah. Hit his ass.
First, they stole a car and filmed themselves intentionally crashing into a 72-year-old bike rider.
The first hit and run around 5 in the morning. Police say Keys is the driver.
The old man survived and called 911.
He ran me over on purpose. I was watching in my rearview mirror on my bicycle. Okay. He could have killed me.
With no care in the world, the two went on to rear-end a car off the side of the road.
All right, go. Go. Let me move in. Stop talking.
Then finally, the deadly duo hit 64-year-old Andreas Probst from behind, who was riding his bicycle.
Ready? Yeah. Hit his ass.
Probst crashed into the windshield of the car and rolled over to the side of the road. Unresponsive, his Apple Watch notified authorities.
The owner of this Apple Watch has taken a hard call and is not responding to their watch.
The crash killed the former police chief, who was enjoying a life of retirement. After the incident, the teenagers abandoned the vehicle and went on the run. A month later, they were arrested. Their cocky behavior continued in the courtroom, where Keys was seen flipping off the cameras, while Ayala made gestures at the victim's family sitting in the gallery. The two were also seen laughing and making jokes during the proceedings. The teenage killers are set to go on trial in September 2024. If convicted, they could face up to 20 years to life in prison. While Jesus Ayala and Jizmir Keys could see significant jail time for their careless actions, how does it compare to flying into a rage in the courtroom? Like in the case of Dexter Johnson, who's on trial for double murder in Texas. According to reports, on June 18, 2006, Johnson and his gang carjacked 23-year-old Maria Aparici, who was sitting in her car with 17-year-old Hui Ngo. The gang then drove them to a secluded area where Johnson sexually assaulted Aparici, while her boyfriend Ngo was forced to listen. Johnson and an accomplice then took the couple to a nearby woods and executed them. The 18-year-old was arrested after police traced Aparici's stolen credit card, which was used after the crime. Eventually, Johnson was found guilty of capital murder. Now at his sentencing, the defendant is about to learn his fate.
Dexter Darnell Johnson, the jury has found you guilty of capital murder. In accordance with the laws of the state of Texas, this court hereby assesses your punishment of death. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is going to complete your jury service. I'm going to meet you in the jury room.
All rise.
Johnson went into shock, unable to stand up, while his family broke down in the gallery.
He's just a god! It's a god!
Suddenly, Johnson exploded, causing total pandemonium in the courtroom. Eventually, Johnson was cuffed and removed from the court, but the chaos was far from over, which had spilled out into the hallway. The situation got so out of hand, one officer had to call for medical attention for the distraught family members. As for Johnson, his execution was later halted by a federal court, citing intellectual disability. He is still on death row. While the Johnson family outburst was truly spectacular, what happens when a convict throws gang signs at his victim's family? Like in the case of Shondell Jackson, who was on trial for murder in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. According to reports, Jackson was 18 when he and another teenager shot and killed 21-year-old Nathan Potter during a robbery attempt as the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee student walked towards his River West apartment after a night out. 19-year-old Derek Thomas was arrested shortly after. He pleaded guilty to acting as the lookout for the murder and was sentenced to 12 years in prison and 8 years of parole.
Another man was sentenced today for his role in Potter's homicide. Derek Thomas pleaded guilty to acting as the lookout for Shondell Jackson. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison and 8 years on parole.
After the shooting, Jackson went on the run. He was arrested only after his uncle revealed his whereabouts.
And I believe I did the right thing, and there's nobody can make me change that.
Facing felony murder charges, Jackson went to trial, where he showed no remorse as he gestured and cursed at the Potter family several times.
He started twisting and turning, making gestures toward the Potter family as though he enjoyed rubbing it in their faces that he had killed their brother.
He was also seen smiling at the victim's family while being led out of the courtroom.
As he was led out of court, our camera caught him smiling at the victim's family.
Eventually, Jackson was convicted of first-degree murder. At his sentencing, the mother of the victim shared her grief with Judge Rebecca Dollett.
They shot him. They dragged him and kicked him to the curb. My son, my God-loving boy. What kind of people do this? But evil people. People that need to be locked up forever.
Nathan's father labeled the defendant as pure evil.
There's nothing that can be said to bring back our Nathan. But your sentence can ensure that Shondell does not have the opportunity as a free man to inflict pain like this again. Is there such thing as pure evil? We think so.
Finally, Judge Dollett read out Jackson's sentence.
I am going to go ahead on count 1, the first-degree intentional homicide conviction, and I am going to sentence Mr. Jackson to life imprisonment without possibility for extended supervision.
After learning his fate, Jackson once again turned to face the Potter family sitting in the gallery behind him. However, this time, the deputies were ready.
I know that that is something that is reserved for the most serious of cases, and I believe that this case rises to that level.
Just as everything seemed under control, Jackson suddenly exploded. As his family wailed in the background, Jackson was tackled to the floor and pepper sprayed. More deputies came in and defused the situation. Ultimately, Jackson was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for the murder of Nathan Potter. While Shondell Jackson showed no regrets for his actions, what happens when family members and friends disrupt court proceedings? Like in the case of Maurice Thomas and Dontavius Butler, who were accused of going on a car break-in spree in Georgia. On August 15, 2017, news cameras caught a high-speed car chase in Valdosta. 3 teenagers stole a car and led cops on a pursuit before leaving the vehicle and fleeing on foot.
As a group of 4 were determined to get away. The dangerous drive took place across Broward County. At one point, they bail out of the Hyundai Sonata behind a shipping container and make a run for it.
Minutes later, 2 of the 3 ended up stealing another car, which they later ditched and escaped.
They jumped into another stolen car and wound their way through several Lauderhill neighborhoods.
Officers say 2 of the 4 end up stealing a blue SUV, which they later ditch and take off on foot, sprinting across backyards. 1 teen jumped a fence and tried to hide, but it was game over when a police canine arrived on the scene. Officers forced him to crawl and jump one last fence before he was arrested. Maurice Thomas and Dontavius Butler, both 15, were arrested. The 3rd teenager was caught shortly after. In court, the judge charged all 3 suspects with vehicle burglary and ordered Thomas, the suspected driver of the vehicle, to remain in a secure juvenile facility for 3 weeks. However, that did not sit well with the teenager.
It all began when the suspected driver, Maurice Thomas, became upset when a judge ordered him to spend the next 21 days in detention.
The news didn't sit well with that teen who started kicking and cursing.
Suddenly, the courtroom erupted. Thomas's family and friends started to create a massive scene, causing all sorts of trouble. A parent stepped in to calm them down, but to no avail.
Man, chill out. Right now. Right now. Chill out. Hush your mouth. Hush your mouth. I said it.
Soon, backup arrived, and 6 15-year-olds were taken into custody.
BSO deputies cleared the courtroom to deal with the unruly, foul-mouthed crowd. 6 were handcuffed following their actions, which brought the court proceedings to a standstill.
The judge called the rowdy teenagers back into court, where a mother tried to talk some sense into her daughter.
Back in court, the judge called the disruptors before the bench. The public defender and mother of one of the suspects tried to reason with one of the girls.
I wasn't even the one who was back there. Respect your elders. I wasn't even the one who was back there talking loud. Respect your elders. Look at him and apologize what you did. That's a total embarrassment, and you know it.
Ultimately, 2 teenagers were charged with direct contempt and sent to juvenile detention for 5 days, while the other 4 were allowed to leave. While the courtroom disruptors got away with lighter sentences, what happens when a convict has to ask for God's help in court?
God! God! God!
The man screaming for a higher power is 19-year-old Damon Kemp, a double murder suspect in Florida. Police said in 2018, Kemp allegedly shot and killed Trey Ingram and Jordan Payton, both 19, at an apartment complex in Daytona Beach.
Authorities say Ingram and 19-year-old Jordan Payton were both found dead at an apartment complex Friday evening, although they believe the crime happened Thursday night.
A witness heard the shots and called the authorities.
Very loud pops, just bang, 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 just very rapid procession.
Kemp was arrested and charged with murder and armed burglary. Now at his bond hearing, Kemp was wheeled in, strapped to a chair. Safe to say, the defendant didn't appreciate it.
God! 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 God!
Folks in the gallery, you need to hold it down.
God!
Mr. Kemp?
God!
Damon Kemp. My name is Judge Orfinger. I'm going to conduct your first appearance. I met you.
God!
Besides his yelling, Kemp also had a confused expression throughout the hearing.
I do believe that there is probable cause for the arrest. And under these circumstances, I am not able to grant you bond or any form of pretrial release. So you're to be held at the Volusia County Jail, and you will be brought before the felony division judge at the next date on her or his calendar. All right?
And with each passing minute, the defendant's face turned more and more frightening.
I've appointed the public defender to represent you, so you have a lawyer this morning. And after I've done all that, I determine the conditions of your release.
Kemp was eventually found guilty of 2 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms. While Damon Kemp's wild expressions certainly aren't for the faint-hearted, how does it compare to killing a friend on the pretense of sneaking out? Like in the case of Aiden Fucci, who is on trial for murder in St. Johns County, Florida.
What you got going on? Why am I here? I just want to talk to my mom and dad. What's going on? What's going on?
As per reports, Fucci stabbed and killed his 13-year-old classmate Tristan Bailey in a wooded area not far from where the teenagers lived. CCTV footage showed that Bailey was last seen with Fucci on the night of her murder.
2 subjects walking from top left to top right, and they're traveling in a direction east towards the cul-de-sac of Saddlestone.
Fucci was later seen running away from the area where he and Bailey had gone a few hours ago.
You can see that he's carrying something in his hands.
Fucci was brought in for questioning concerning the then missing case of Bailey. He posted this Snapchat while sitting in the back of the cop car. He even took a video on his phone.
Having fun in a cop car.
Yep. Tristan.
What's up, guys?
Yep. Tristan, if you walk out the damn, it's in a cop car, cuz. Tripping, dude.
Bailey was reported missing by her family, and hours later, her body was discovered with 114 stab wounds. Now in custody, Fucci was grilled by his parents.
They found this girl, right?
Where?
In our neighborhood, down our main street.
Is she good?
No, she's not. She's dead. That's why this is very important. It's all on you right now.
What is my problem?
You were the last one with
one
her.
seen with her. So right now, it's facing you right now, son. Yeah, the Snapchat that you did was not very smart.
No. Now we have people want to burn our house down and our cars down. Because of that Snapchat thing you did. It's all over. You're all over the internet and everywhere. Social media.
It is on social media. You'll probably come stay with me after we get done with this. Just for your well safe being.
This is serious, man.
It's very serious.
This isn't no joke. This is your whole life. Your whole life.
And hers.
And ours. And your brothers and sisters. And don't forget they can't go to school tomorrow.
Why?
Because the kids will hurt them.
Investigators later found footage of Fucci's mother trying to clean the blood out of the jeans he was wearing during the murder.
State's attorney says Smith is seen cleaning her son's bloody jeans. When officers went into the home, they found a pair of wet jeans in Fucci's bedroom. And as we reported earlier this summer, the jeans and a drain in a bathroom tested positive for blood.
She was sentenced to 30 days in jail for tampering with evidence. Police also found Fucci's knife, which he often used to carry, in a pond near the crime scene. Given that and the cuts and abrasions on his body believed to have been inflicted by Bailey as the teenager defended herself, Fucci was charged with first-degree murder.
Let me tell you what you are charged with. You have been indicted by the St. Johns County Grand Jury on the charge of first-degree premeditated murder.
He later pleaded guilty and apologized to the victim's family.
I just want to say I plead out guilty. And I'm sorry for the Bailey family and my family.
At his sentencing, emotions ran at an all-time high when Bailey's sister appeared for her victim impact statement.
This jar now holds 114 stones, one for each of the 114 stab wounds that my sister had to endure. Did she see you coming at her with the knife, or did you stab her while she wasn't paying attention? Did she scream out for help, or was she paralyzed with agony? Did she cry for my mother? Did she beg you to stop? Did you hear her lungs gargling with blood? Or did you see it in her face when she realized she could no longer breathe due to her collapsed lungs? What were her last words? Did you stay to watch her die? Or did you leave her there in agonizing pain as you ran away? How long did she suffer? Did you watch the life leave her eyes? Aiden Fucci didn't just take Tristan's life that day. He took everything from us.
Bailey's mother pleaded with the judge to give her daughter's killer a life sentence.
Aiden Fucci, your deplorable actions are unforgivable, and I will pray every day that you stay in prison for the rest of your life. Your Honor, I plead with you. Please do not for 1 second think that he could be rehabilitated at any point. He is beyond saving.
Judge R. Lee Smith said this was probably the most shocking case of his career.
I would submit that this case is probably the most difficult and shocking case that this county in St. Johns County has dealt with. This case is one of only a very small few that had this level and this type of impact on the community.
He added that the crime was highly premeditated and that Fucci was always going to kill to satisfy his sinister desires of seeing someone get murdered.
There was a heightened level of premeditation in this case. Based on the prior statements that he made to his girlfriend and his friend, he indicated that he was going to kill someone. At which point he determined that it was going to be Tristan Bailey, I don't know. But there was going to be a victim. What is also very troubling is that this crime had no motive. This was not done out of greed. It was not done in retaliation, retribution, or revenge. It was not a crime of passion. It was not a crime that was committed because he felt rejected by her. It was not done in a fit of uncontrollable anger. There was no reason. There was no purpose. It was done for no other reason than to satisfy this defendant's internal desire to feel what it was like to kill someone.
Now it was time for the 14-year-old killer to learn his fate.
I adjudicate you guilty of the premeditated first-degree murder of Tristan Bailey. I sentence you to life in prison.
Ultimately, Fucci was sentenced to life in prison for the brutal stabbing of Tristan Bailey. While Aiden Fucci's trial had a lasting impression on everyone involved, what happens when a convict sounds off on a judge?
I'm pretty sure you have been waiting to be able to hold someone responsible since day one, but the fact of the matter is that I'm not responsible for the death of Renee.
Like in the case of Anthony Allen, who's on trial for murder in Niagara County. In 2009, 2 teenage residents of Avenue House, a group home for troubled teens in Lockport, allegedly beat their supervisor, 24-year-old Renee Greco, to death. Police arrested Allen and his accomplice, Robert Thousand, both 18, and charged them with murder and robbery.
And 19-year-old Anthony Allen, who were staying at the group home for troubled teens, were both arrested hours afterward and charged with murder.
Thousand later pleaded guilty to manslaughter and testified against Allen, claiming that Allen was the alleged mastermind.
Robert Thousand. He testified that Allen planned the 2009 slaying to cover up a theft.
Eventually, Allen was convicted of second-degree murder. At his sentencing, Allen read out a fiery statement.
I'm pretty sure you have been waiting to be able to hold someone responsible since day one, but the fact of the matter is that I'm not responsible for the death of Renee.
He then lashed out at Niagara County Court Judge Sarah Sparazza.
You disgraced the title honorable, and you don't deserve to have it in front of your name.
However, the judge had the last words.
The only truly violent person in that home was Mr. Allen. Everyone was terrified of him.
She labeled the defendant a monster.
I have very rarely in my life looked into the eyes of a monster. And from the first moment I saw Mr. Allen, he's one of three.
Ultimately, Allen was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison for the murder of Renee Greco. As for Robert Thousand, he received 20 years in prison for accessory to murder. While Anthony Allen showed no remorse for his actions, how does it compare to grinning while being sentenced to life?
But Lindsay actually grinned when the judge read his ruling, the lack of remorse not lost on David Crawford's daughter, Amanda.
Like in the case of Nicholas Lindsay, who's on trial for murdering a cop in St. Petersburg, Florida. In 2011, Officer David Crawford caught 16-year-old Lindsay breaking into a car near Tropicana Field and stopped to question him. During the probe, Lindsay allegedly shot the veteran cop 5 times and killed him. A fellow officer noticed the gunfire and called 911.
Quarter B, I got shots fired over here. Shots fired. I got an officer shot. 4th Avenue South. Tell him to step it up.
Lindsay fled the scene and was on the run for more than 24 hours. He was arrested after CCTV footage of his escape was made public, which led to information about the suspect's whereabouts. During interrogation, the teen's parents convinced their killer child to confess.
I did not do it, and I'm telling you, I did not do it. Who did it? I don't know.
Lindsay went to trial as an adult for first-degree murder, where his father gave a tearful apology.
On behalf of me, my son, and our entire family, we send our deepest of sympathy to the family and his colleague that he worked with. It's my only son, no son that it happened.
The defense fought for a lesser manslaughter charge, claiming that Lindsay panicked and fired his gun out of fear.
I think it's more likely than not that he fired impulsively out of fear.
However, the prosecution argued that the defendant's actions were deliberate.
Every single shot he fired was exactly where he aimed it, at the body of Officer Crawford.
Eventually, Lindsay was convicted of first-degree murder. And as the judge read out his fate, which was life in prison without parole, Lindsay sat there with an eerie grin on his face. While Nicholas Lindsay was all smiles in court, our next suspect is a bit too hot-headed.
I'm working at McDonald's. Now I gotta come here and my life up. You.
This is Milton Watts, who is in the Berea Municipal Court for failing to appear on a domestic violence charge.
Milton Watts.
From bench.
Things went off to a rough start when Judge Chris Green asked Watts about missing his court appearance.
You were supposed to be here last month. You did not appear. Why weren't you here?
My mom didn't show up. Somebody died in the family. There was no reason for me to be here.
Well, it's not an engraved invitation, son. It's a court order.
Judge Green initially showed some leniency. He asked Watts to hire a new lawyer, since the previous one had withdrawn from the case. But the 21-year-old continued with his smug attitude.
Your attorney withdrew, so you'll have to hire an attorney?
I don't need an attorney.
You're a lawyer?
Nope.
Do you want to talk to me about me at bond with me? What do you want to tell me?
About what?
Bond?
I don't really give a fuck, to be honest with you. I don't really give a fuck, to be honest with you.
That's going to cost you 30 days in the county jail for contempt. Cuff him, if you got the cuffs. Hold on, it's $5,000 cash surety bond, temporary, subject to the temporary protection order. Just swore at the judge. Can I give you a piece of advice?
What?
You can either make life easy or you can make life hard.
Fuck it. I already ruined my life.
That's 60. You want to go for 90?
He continued his rant as the judge kept on adding to the charges.
Fuck it.
That's 90 more.
Fuck it.
That's 180. That's 306.
I'm working at McDonald's. Now I gotta come here and my life up. You.
Melvin, stop.
How many days you want to give me now? Are you Sir County?
Yeah, I'm at about a year right now in contempt, so.
Watts' family tried to intervene, but there was no stopping the foul-mouthed defendant.
So.
He's got mental problems. He's not on medication.
Ma'am, I don't care.
I don't give a
Stop.
everybody. You.
No.
Power.
Good.
Power.
Good.
Saggy dick, fucking bitch.
That's stupid. Melvin, stop. Stop it. You're not even getting in trouble.
This
Melvin, Melvin, listen. You're going.
Who the fuck is telling me fucking anything?
Finally, backup arrived. Court deputies took Watts away as his family looked on with disappointment.
Stop.
Just let him do whatever he wants to do.
Melvin.
You don't want to listen.
I like your suit. Thanks, man.
Melvin.
I love it.
Melvin.
It's funny. Just let him do what you're not going to do anything. You're just causing more.
That's it.
While Judge Green initially went up to 365 days in the heat of the moment, once everything calmed down, Watts was sentenced to 90 days in prison. While Milton Watts will be spending less time in prison than he bargained for, what happens when a witness acts out in the courtroom?
I tell you the truth, y'all want something else, y'all want to cry.
Like in the case of Jordan Silver, who's on trial for murder in Tampa Bay, Florida. In July 2020, 20-year-old Silver was part of a crew who were shooting a music video for rapper Eric Bernowski. They were filming a staged kidnapping with fake blood and prop guns.
The director of the rap video, Giovanni Vasquez, was filming a staged kidnapping with fake blood and a prop gun.
But to everyone's shock, Silver whipped out a real gun with a laser on it.
Jordan Silver was there too, but was acting strange and paranoid.
The target.
He says Silver was holding a gun with a laser on it.
Bro, you good? Bro, calm down. It's okay.
Silver pointed the gun toward Bernowski's girlfriend, Haley Cox, who was helping film the music video, and shot her in the head. The 23-year-old captured her final moments on camera.
I can't believe this is happening. Why you do this? I know. Why, man?
Silver then turned the gun towards Bernowski and shot him twice.
Don't do it! No.
The 22-year-old rapper survived.
All of a sudden, he just like turned switches in his head, and I saw him shoot my girl right in front of me, and literally I was in shock.
Silver was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and attempted murder.
Accused of second-degree murder and first-degree attempted murder.
Yeah, I want to go to trial.
At the trial, while appearing as the state's star witness, Bernowski started to cause a scene.
What's the problem?
Big problem, man. I'm the victim. I tell you the truth, y'all want something else, y'all want to cry.
Oh, really? You're in contempt of court. Take him into custody.
He was held in contempt of court and sent to jail. But Bernowski was not done there.
He was possessed. Take you victim, Jim. Damn, on my leg, dog. I got a bullet in my leg, dog.
After spending some time in prison, Bernowski returned to the stands with a change in his demeanor.
Haley gets shot that night.
Yes, I watched Haley get shot in the head.
Who shot her?
Jordan.
Do you see Jordan here in the courtroom?
Yes.
He identified the suspect who shot him and killed his girlfriend.
You can point him out.
Okay,
Jordan Silver was found guilty of manslaughter and first-degree attempted murder. While Eric Bernowski's emotions certainly got the better of him in the courtroom, how does it compare to shooting an officer of the law?
Jonathan Belton, you shattered my happiness, my hopes, and my dreams, and for that I will never forgive you.
Like in the case of Jonathan Belton, who's on trial for murder in Michigan. On December 28, 2008, police said Oak Park safety officer Mason Samborski pulled over Belton for a routine stop in Detroit. Upon learning that the 16-year-old did not have a driver's license, Officer Samborski was falsely led to a nearby apartment to meet Belton's mother.
Samborski pulled Belton over on a traffic stop, and Belton somehow convinced the officer he had to get home to see his mom at her apartment.
Once there, Belton tried to flee, and a struggle ensued, which resulted in the teenager shooting Officer Samborski in the head and killing him with his own service gun. Belton was arrested and charged with murder and other gun-related offenses. At his trial, a first responder said Officer Samborski had no pulse by the time he arrived.
I immediately attempted to render aid.
Okay, and did you find any vital signs coming from Officer Samborski in your time?
I checked for vitals first. I found no pulse and no breathing.
He also testified that the officer was bleeding from a wound at the back of his head.
What was the first location you noted that he was bleeding from?
There was a large wound in the back of his head.
Okay. Did you touch around the area in the back of his head?
Yes, I checked the wound.
And were you able to stop the bleeding from the back of his head?
No, the wound was too large.
The prosecution argued that Belton intended to harm and kill Officer Samborski.
The defendant either intended to kill Officer Samborski, intended to do great bodily harm to Officer Samborski, or knowingly created a very high risk of death or great bodily harm.
The defense responded by saying Officer Samborski shot himself during the struggle.
You have to pull a trigger and intend somehow to do it. That never happened in this case. Johnny Belton never pulled any trigger of any kind, anywhere, any place.
Belton's girlfriend, who was present during the crime, took the stand and proved the defense wrong.
I saw a man down on the ground and Johnny standing there all fighting the gun.
You saw defendant Jonathan Belton with a gun in his right hand. Could you tell where it was pointed towards?
Yes.
Tell the jury where defendant Belton had the handgun.
It was pointed sort of faces of a body, somewhere towards his head.
Eventually, the jury found Belton guilty on all charges.
Murder of a peace officer, guilty as charged of murder of a peace officer. Count 2, possession of firearm and the commission of a felony, guilty as charged of felony firearm.
At his sentencing, Officer Samborski's widow addressed Belton, saying she would never forgive him.
I hope that one day you regret what you did and realize what you could have done differently. You are alive and your family gets to see you and talk to you. We don't get to see or talk to Mason ever again. We get nothing but pain and wonderment of what our future could have been. Jonathan Belton, you shattered my happiness, my hopes, and my dreams, and for that I will never forgive you.
Belton was also given a chance to speak to his family.
You know what really happened. I know what really happened. The Lord knows what really happened. I love you all to death. Yeah, I'm going to see y'all soon.
Ultimately, Belton was sentenced to life in prison without any chance of parole. However, his sentence was later reduced to 40 to 70 years in prison due to a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that made mandatory life sentences for juveniles unconstitutional. While Jonathan Belton will spend most of his life in prison for killing a cop, how does it compare to being told off by a judge in the courtroom?
Number one, so first of all, you're a statutory rapist, and now you're trying to save her from her dad that really didn't do anything at all, except try to be a father. You're the one on heroin. You're the one statutorily raping that little girl.
Like in the case of Damian Hopkins, who was on trial for arson in Michigan. According to reports, 18-year-old Hopkins conspired with his girlfriend Alexis Penn and set her house on fire while her father Charles Penn was inside. Later, Hopkins would lie to the police that Charles used to sexually abuse his 14-year-old daughter. The 54-year-old man survived with serious injuries. Hopkins and his girlfriend were arrested, and while Alexis was ordered to undergo a psychiatric evaluation, Hopkins pleaded guilty to first-degree arson. At his sentencing, Circuit Judge John McBain tore into the defendant.
Number one, so first of all, you're a statutory rapist, and now you're trying to save her from her dad that really didn't do anything at all, except try to be a father. You're the one on heroin. You're the one statutorily raping that little girl. And you know what you're lucky you're not here for sentencing for? Do you understand what you're lucky you're not here for sentencing for, Mr. Hopkins?
Yes, sir.
What's that? It's called felony murder, which means if somebody had actually died in that fire, you'd have been, the only sentence would have been happening here today is life without the possibility of parole. And you die in the Department of Corrections.
The judge revealed that Hopkins had previously told police he wanted to kill Charles.
And then you told the state police that, it actually said he laughed and said that he wanted to kill him since the summer of 2014. It doesn't say, I just wanted to get Alexis away. It said you wanted to kill him. Your own words.
Eventually, Judge McBain sealed the teenager's fate.
I said, but I'm giving you the maximum sentence under the sentencing guidelines. That's 15 years to 30 years. And frankly, I think you should get more.
Ultimately, Hopkins received the maximum sentence of 15 to 30 years in prison. While Damian Hopkins' devious plan landed him in jail for a significant amount of time, what happens when a convict tries to escape from the courtroom?
And you play by your rules, you don't want to play by anybody else's rules.
Like in the case of William Demopoulos, who was at an Ohio court for violating his probation. According to reports, 18-year-old Demopoulos was previously charged with criminal damage, unauthorized use of a vehicle, and obstructing justice. Now in court, he was facing Judge Chris Green, who was famous for his strict demeanor. The trouble started when Judge Green asked Demopoulos to hand over his phone, a request which he did not take kindly.
Give me that phone. What's in that phone you don't want us to find?
Nothing. I just didn't see no need for you guys to confiscate my phone and go through it. I mean...
And you play by your rules. You don't want to play by anybody else's rules.
The judge then gave the ignorant defendant a lesson in the rules of probation.
What did we talk about with regard to following the rules? The phone. And they told you to give him the phone. I don't know why.
After handing over the phone, the teen tried to walk out of the court, leading to a stern rebuke by the judge.
Come here, hey. Come here. Oh, I need to do this about right now. I'm telling you about right. If there's something so messed up, and here. Like, if you're all like, give me an officer. Give me an officer. Please, please. No. You don't have to feel like I'm laying out thinking about charging you with resistance. Jeez, it doesn't have to be like this, John. Stand there and stand like a man. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Then you're going to go to jail today.
That is when things escalated. With one giant leap, Demopoulos climbed over the table and headed for the exit before being quickly tackled by the deputies. Ultimately, Judge Green revoked Demopoulos' probation and charged him with resisting arrest.